Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to show you guys how I made this cinnamon sugar and raisin sourdough loaf. We're going to start off by feeding my starter. I feed my starter the night before and it was time to change its jar because my other jar was getting dirty. So I decided to use my super baking jar from their starter kit. I got these on their website or you can go on Amazon. They also sell them there. I love the jar because the jar is nice and spacious if I want to make multiple loaves. I love that there's bread images or pictures on the outside, and the whole kit came with everything you see here: the little brush to clean the jar, the silicone scraper, these measuring cups. It comes with the lid, or you can use the cloth lid, and it also comes with that little rubber band looking thing that you can use to measure how much sourdough starter you started with. So I am feeding my starter. I added 20 grams of my starter and I fed it 100 grams of flour and 100 grams of water. I really enjoyed this starter kit because it has everything I need to feed my starter and to maintain it and to clean my jar as well to keep my starter nice and happy. So I fed my starter at night, and then in the morning my starter was ready, and you can see here how much it grew overnight. It's doubled in size, more than doubled in size, and look at how bubbly it is. It's so beautiful. I just love to look at my starter. So we are adding 100 grams of active sourdough starter to our bowl, and then we're going to add 350 grams of filtered water, and we're going to mix these two ingredients together until we get a milky consistency. This starter kit actually does come with a dough whisk, but as you guys know, I love my handy dandy spatula. So after mixing these two together, I added 40 grams of honey. I mixed everything again, and then I decided to add some wheat flour to my recipe. So I added 100 grams of that, and then I added 400 grams of bread flour, and then I added 10 grams of salt. I mixed everything together until there were no more pockets of flour left over. And then I let my dough rest for 1 hour on my counter before starting on our first set of stretch and folds. So on our first set, I do not add any inclusions because I am trying to get my dough strong before adding anything into it. So now I wait 1 hour after doing the first set to do the second set. And here is where I add my inclusions. So I am adding some raisins, and I like to pour a little bit of raisins at a time between each stretch. So you see here how I am just grabbing a little bit of the raisins, sprinkling it into the dough, folding the dough over, sprinkling a little bit more, and folding the dough over again until I am done adding the raisins. You can add as much or as little as you want. So after I'm done adding my raisins, I cover the bowl and I let it sit for another hour, and then I do my last set of stretch and folds. So I only do 3, and for my last set I do coil folds because I like to have the inclusions within the dough, and I feel like I can control how the dough keeps the inclusions inside, I guess. I do this like motion where I kind of fold the dough within itself, as you can see here. And it's very gentle on the dough. It doesn't rip or anything. So I like to do that on the third set as well. So here is the third set. I am gently just pulling the dough, folding it under itself, I feel like this helps my dough get very strong. I also feel like it lets it stay nice and airy and fluffy. And I just love how this dough feels when I do coil folds. If you haven't tried doing coil folds, please try it. It literally changes your dough. So after a few hours, the bulk fermentation is over and I am just gently shaping the dough into a square or a rectangle. And I have some cinnamon and sugar mix in a bowl, and I am ready to add that inclusion right then and there. I don't add this during the stretch and folds because the brown sugar tends to get the dough very liquidy and just like a goopy mess. So this is where I always add any brown sugar inclusions to my loaves. I have learned the hard way and I'm happy to share that with you guys just in case you guys are struggling a little bit. So I gently shape my dough, making sure that I don't rip it to avoid any mess from the inclusions to come out. And I put my dough into a banneton from Super Baking. I actually got their bread baking supplies kit, and it came with the banneton, the whisk, the blade, everything. It came with everything that you need. So if you guys are looking for a kit or a starter kit, Super Baking has it all on Amazon or on their website. I will link it down below if you guys want. They have both shapes of bannetons, and I chose to get this round one. So I put my dough into the refrigerator overnight, and I actually let my dough cold proof in the refrigerator for about 48 hours. And once I was ready to bake, I preheated my oven to 450 degrees with my Dutch oven inside, making sure it was nice and hot. I scored my dough and I put it into the Dutch oven for 45 minutes with the lid on the entire time. I did not take off the lid to get it nice and toasty on the outside because the brown sugar tends to burn and look very dark very fast. So I just left the lid on for all of the 45 minutes. It was cooked from the inside and it looked pretty on the outside as well. I like my loaves to look pretty, so that's why I like to leave the lid on. But if you want to take the lid off, go for it. It's just personal preference. And once it's cooled down, this is the end result. I think it came out beautiful. It tastes really delicious. The raisins gave it a nice touch. And this is the crumb shot. It came out so beautiful and so delicious. I sliced it up for you guys so you guys can see how the raisins were nicely distributed within the dough when you put it during the stretch and folds. So thank you for watching today's video and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.